Hi everybody. I just wanted to analyze the crop related data using data analytics. So I have recently learnt about Apriori algorithm and market basket analysis. So I wanted to see if I can apply that on the crop related data. So I downloaded the crops grown in the state of Andhra Pradesh since 1998 from our government website data.gov.in. So and this is how the data is. I have just separated the data of erstwhile Andhra Pradesh on district wise and crop wise, and then I have created a pivot table mentioning all the crops and then the districts. Seeing this, I got a thought that this is similar to the shopping, or we can say supermarket market baskets. Assume that if Arconet is a person, then it has went and shopped or made its presence felt in all these districts: Anantapur, East Godavari, Krishna, and so on. So the point is that the number here signifies the number of times that crop was put up in the last 7 years. But for us, in our analysis, all we need to know is that whether it is put up or not. So I have converted any of the numbers 18 or 10 into yes or no. That means whether it is put up or not. So if I change that data, it comes to like this. So that means there is a crop, this is the crop related data, and this is related to the districts. So we can see all 23 districts and 66 crops considered by the government to be present in this data. So then I have converted this into a CSV file and fed it to R. I have converted this into crop.data.csv and loaded it, and I have used str to convert the CSV data into strings. So now let me run this aspect. Control enter. We can see here below the data being pulled up and ready for viewing. So now what I have done is that I have used a priori algorithm. A priori algorithm for crops.dt, and I have given minimum length of 1 and maximum length of 23. That means I wanted all the 23 districts to be considered as the sets of ones or twos or threes. That means I want to understand whether one district's crop are affecting other districts' crops, or whether a group of two districts' crops or three districts' crops are affecting a fourth district crop. So for that I have given from 1 to 23, and I gave support as 0.8. That means I want to see the impact first on 80% of the crops. So that means I'll get a result only if 80% of the crops are considered, and of those crops, all the 23 districts will be analyzed for these 80% crops, and then we will get a result based on the confidence level. So I'm now running this. So you can see here we get 63 rules. So that means there are 63 associations between the districts. So now I have sorted the rules based on the confidence interval, and I am now seeing the top 5 rules. What I can see is that Kadapa and East Godavari districts, the crops in Kadapa and the crops in East Godavari are very closely related. So we can see a confidence of 98%, and then the crops in Kadapa and Kurnool are closely related. Crops in Kadapa, East Godavari and Kurnool are very closely related. And similarly crops in Kadapa, Kurnool and East Godavari. So we can see this combination here, seeing that Kadapa, Kurnool and East Godavari are very closely related, as I said. So let us verify whether this is really correct or wrong. So okay, so it's basically East Godavari, Kadapa and Kurnool. So let's see how the variation is coming up. Let me first put up a filter for East Godavari, and it's yes. The information here is 57 of 66. That means Of the 66 crops considered by the government, 57 crops varieties are grown in East Godavari. As I told you, it's not the total amount of crops, it's just the variety of the crops. So now let's see the association between East Godavari and Kadapa. So, yeah. So if I put up Kadapa also, then I can see 53. So that means there is 53 commonalities between Kadapa and East Godavari. And if we see the differences, we can see that Arknot, cabbage, Niger seed and tapioca. These are the ones which are not grown in Kadapa but are grown in East Godavari. For argument purpose or for ease of understanding, if we assume that East Godavari's land and Kadapa's land, soil content and the irrigation facilities are same, then we can specify that people of Chittoor can try about growing arknot, cabbage, naira seed and tapioca. So let's get back to the actual point where we are seeing the similarity between Kadapa, East Godavari and Kurnool. So now I'm now putting a filter for Kurnool as well. Now you see the result has changed to 52. So that means there are 52 commonalities between these three districts. So that's the beauty of R, that you can easily get this information. You can easily get this information from Excel also, but R gives it in a better format. So if we want to see what's the difference, so now let me put it a no here, and we can see cashew nut. Cashew nut is present in Kadapa and East Godavari and Kurnool, but Kadapa and Kurnool fall in Rayalaseema. So if their soil content, if we assume it to be same, then we can advise people from Kurnool to think growing cashew nuts, or we can subsidize them for growing cashew nuts. So that is the first observation that we get from the first run of R. I'm next going to show you my second run with R. I'm going back here. See, as we noticed here, there is a lot of commonality. Kurnool was coming again and again. So I felt that what if Kurnool is having a influence or not? Ideally, if we have to check about the influence, then we should see the easiest way, or the dumb rule, not the thumb rule. The dumb rule is to find out the district which has the largest number of crops being grown, and then see that as the major influencer. In that case, this is Rangareddy district, which can be considered as a major influencer. But what I did, I have run an R on this data again. So this one, the minimum length is 1, support is 80, confidence is 80, and appearance list, I want to see only situations where Kurnool is influencing. So I'll know only where Kurnool is the major influencer, and I don't want Kurnool in the RHS. That means I don't want a result to say that Kurnool is influencing Kurnool, and this is the result. Okay, now let me aim for the result. Shows that there are 20 rules. So that means there are 20 ways in Kurnool is affecting, but please mind that I have given the minimum length as 1. So that means we can get some junk data as well. You'll get to know that in a short span of time. So I'm now sorting those 20 rules based on the confidence level with a decreasing true, in the sense we will get the highest confidence level one first. And I'm redundanting it because there are only 20 rules. I don't mind seeing all the 20 rules rather than the top 5. If you can see here, Kurnool as a district, the crops in Kurnool have got a lot of commonality with 9 such districts. And rest is junk data. As I said, I gave the minimum length as 1, and that's the reason probably we are getting this. So let's see what happened to Rangareddy. Suppose if I go for Rangareddy here, Angareddy. If I go for Rangareddy here in the same scenario, I get only 5 results here. Let me maximize this to see. So you can see here that Rangareddy district has got influence on only 5 districts, the two on Medak, Kurnool, Chittoor, Magnu. These are the commonalities. So that is it. So if that means that if central government decides to put up an agriculture research center, or if they want to see get the first hand information of how the crops are faring in the states of Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, Kurnool is the best place to look into, because Kurnool has got a major influencing factor on others. So if we see some virus or any crops getting damaged in Kurnool first, then then there is a greater chance than all the other crops in the other states might also get affected. So that's one thing I can say, a blunt as a inference that we can gain from this. The third aspect that I wanted to check out was that recently, with the carving out of Telangana state and Andhra Pradesh state, uh, a new capital was formed, and that new capital region is being decided in the areas of Krishna and Guntur. So that means some of the agriculture land in Krishna and Guntur will now be used for the construction of the capital. So that means the production in that area will be reduced. So if we see, if this analysis of influence is correct, that means if we find out the commonalities between Krishna, Guntur and the other districts of the erstwhile Andhra Pradesh, then we will easily understand that reduced production of Krishna and Guntur will help the crops in other districts where similar crops are grown. That means because of the constant demand, the people in other districts can increase the price, because the production in Guntur and Krishna has vanished. So for that, I am now giving an appearance list for Krishna and Guntur, and confidence level is 80, and I am taking this off. I think it should be fine now. So let's see how the results fare up, and I am running it. So we can see there are 12 rules coming up. So that means there are 12 different ways the districts are likely to get affected. Okay, so that's a very bad result. So we can see this is meaningless because I gave mean length of 1. So let's see if we reduce the significance level support to 70. So that means instead of putting the minimum length as 80% of the crops being considered, if I put 70% of the crops being considered, let's see how the result is going to be. Okay, so here we see that if 70% is the limit, then we see here that Krishna, then there are 15 ways in which the things can get affected. So the crops lost, crop production lost in Krishna will be beneficial for East Godavari first, and crop production in Guntur will be beneficial to Prakasam district first. So the surprising fact here to be noticed is that Krishna and West Godavari districts are nearby as per the location, but the crops commonality is high between Krishna and East Godavari. So most likely it's East Godavari that's likely to get affected if we assume that all the crops are going to be affected because of the formation of the capital. So that's Krishna, Guntur is affecting Prakasam, Guntur is affecting East Godavari also, Krishna is affecting Medak. So we can see the majorly East Godavari people and Prakasam district people, agricultural people are likely to get benefited because of the rise in prices if this is catered for. Then the major influences or major beneficiaries are Medak, Rangareddy and Mahbub Nagar, 3 Telangana districts, and Vishakhapatnam and Kadapa, Mahbub Nagar and Chittoor, Nizamabad, Kurnool and West Godavari and Prakasam. So we can see here that it's a mixed bag response. So it's not. So it will be 3 districts of 4 or 5 districts of Andhra Pradesh and 3 districts of Telangana that are likely to get benefited. So Apriori has really helped me understand these things.